Let me paint you a picture. Imagine standing on the edge of a bridge, and on the other side lies everything you've ever dreamed of: the wealth, the health, the relationships, the life you've been telling yourself you want. You can see it clearly. You can describe it in detail. You can even teach a class on how to get there. But here's the tragedy. Most people never take a single step across. Not because they don't know the way, but because the first step feels heavier than the dream itself. You see, the mind has this strange comfort. It confuses understanding with arriving. It rewards you with a little shot of pride for learning, while quietly letting your life slip by untouched. That's why the graveyards are filled with unstarted businesses, unwritten books, unsaid I love yous, all buried in the space between knowing and doing. You can know everything there is to know about planting seeds. The soil, the seasons, the rain, the sun. You can read every book ever written on farming, but until you go out into the field, bend your back, and put those seeds into the ground, nothing will grow. Knowledge is a wonderful beginning, but it is not the harvest. The harvest only comes to those who act. You see, life doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do with what you know. I've met people with libraries in their homes who were broke, and I've met people who never owned a book who were wealthy because one took action and the other didn't. When I first learned the principles of wealth, I thought, now I've got it. I'll be rich by Tuesday. But then weeks went by, months went by, and nothing changed. Why? Because I had the recipe but never turned on the stove. Action is the bridge between your mind and your results. Without it, dreams fade into distant wishes. As Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. It's not the theory. It's the repetition of the act that transforms your life. Imagine someone who studies investing for 5 years and never buys a single stock. Or someone who knows every exercise for building muscle, yet never picks up a weight. They live in the illusion of progress, comforted by knowing, but robbed of results by not doing. That's where most dreams die, in the gap between intention and execution. I remember a young man asking me for advice on starting a business. I told him exactly what to do. He came back a year later with the same question. I asked him, "Did you start?" He said, "Not yet, but I've learned even more." I told him, "Your learning is a burden until you put it to work." So here's the truth. The soil doesn't respond to your knowledge, it responds to your seeds. And seeds only get planted when you act. Knowing is potential. Doing is power. And the harvest only comes to those who show up in the field. You know, there's a trap I see a lot of people fall into. They confuse movement with progress. They're busy from sunrise to midnight, but a year later they're standing in the same spot. That's what I call the illusion of progress. It's the thief of real progress, because it gives you just enough satisfaction to keep you from doing what actually matters. It's like rocking in a chair. You're moving all day, but you're not going anywhere. You can attend seminars, take notes, watch videos, listen to lectures, and feel like you've climbed the mountain. But unless those notes become action, you haven't even left the parking lot. As Seneca said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. The greatest waste is to spend your life circling the same spot, thinking you're advancing. I remember early in my career, I was always preparing. I was organizing my desk, rewriting my goals, color-coding my calendar. I was busy. Oh, I looked so productive, but my bank account didn't think so. Then it hit me. Real progress is measured by results, not activity. That was a turning point. Think about a gardener who keeps polishing his tools, checking the weather, and rearranging seed packets while the weeds take over the garden. He's active, but he's not progressing. Or a salesperson who spends all day researching the market but never makes the call. You see, the illusion of progress comforts you, but real progress challenges you. One makes you feel good now, the other makes you better later. If you want to escape that trap, measure your days not by how much you moved, but by how much you moved forward. Replace being busy with being effective, because the clock is ticking, whether you're standing still or climbing. And the tragedy is not that people run out of time, it's that they run out of life while believing they're making progress. You know, motion can be a sneaky little deceiver. It looks like progress, it feels like progress, and if you talk about it enough, it even sounds like progress. But here's the truth, motion is not progress. Execution is everything. I've met people who were always about to do something great. They were about to launch the business, about to start the workout plan, about to write the book. They had binders full of ideas and calendars full of meetings. But when I checked back a year later, they were still about to. As Aristotle said, well, begun is half done, but only half. The other half is finishing what you start. It's like a ship that keeps shifting its sails, adjusting its anchor, and polishing its deck, but never leaves the harbor. All that motion means nothing if it doesn't take you closer to the destination. In my early years, I fell for that same trick. I was busy taking notes at every seminar, buying every book, mapping every goal, but I wasn't executing. My shelves were full, but my pockets were empty. Think about an athlete in training. If they spend all day stretching, adjusting their gear, and practicing the same drill over and over, they might look active, but until they step into the real competition, they haven't progressed. It's execution under pressure that turns preparation into victory. You know, I've seen it over and over again. People who tell me they're just getting ready. They're researching, studying, organizing, waiting for the perfect moment. But what they don't realize is that it's not really preparation they're doing, it's fear wearing a disguise. And let me tell you, fear disguised as preparation has destroyed more dreams than failure ever will. Now, preparation is a good thing. In fact, it's essential. But when you prepare endlessly without ever stepping into the arena, you're not preparing, you're stalling. You're building a cage out of your own caution. As Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And when fear controls your imagination, you'll always find a reason why you're not ready. I remember in my early days, I told myself I was studying the market before I launched my first business. The truth, I was afraid. Afraid to fail, afraid to be judged, afraid to discover I wasn't as good as I hoped. So I hid behind the comfort of preparation. I thought if I kept getting ready, one day I'd be bulletproof. But that day never came because the only thing that makes you ready is doing the thing you fear. Look at the farmer. He can plan the planting season all he wants. He can study the soil, sharpen his tools, and stack his seeds neatly in the barn. But if he never puts the seeds in the ground, he's not a farmer, he's just a seed collector. Here's the truth. Failure hurts for a moment. Regret lasts a lifetime. You can recover from failure. You can't recover from the life you never lived. So don't let fear dress itself up in the respectable clothes of preparation. At some point, you've got to stop getting ready and start getting going. I'll tell you something I learned the hard way. Perfectionism might look like high standards, but in reality, it's often just another form of procrastination. It's the enemy of momentum. It's that voice in your head saying, not yet. It's not perfect. And if you listen to it too long, you'll be stuck polishing the same stone while everyone else is building castles. See, the marketplace doesn't reward perfection, it rewards progress. The world moves forward on finished work, not flawless ideas. As Voltaire put it, asterisk, perfect is the enemy of good. Asterisk. You can improve something that's done, but you can't improve something that's trapped in your imagination. In my early years, I wasted time waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect set of circumstances. And what I learned is that perfect conditions are like unicorns. Everyone talks about them, but no one's ever seen one. The real winners are the ones who take imperfect action and then improve as they go. Think about the Wright brothers. Their first plane didn't soar across continents. It barely lifted off the ground. But they didn't wait for the perfect design. They launched. They learned. They adjusted. That's momentum. Perfectionism tells you, wait until you're ready. Momentum whispers, start now. Get better on the way. One keeps you stuck at the starting line. The other carries you across the finish line. So if you want progress, give yourself permission to do it badly at first. Because an imperfect step forward beats a perfect standstill every single. I'll tell you something that might surprise you. Comfort is far more dangerous than risk. Risk wakes you up. Comfort lulls you to sleep. And while you're sleeping, life moves on without you. See, risk might bruise you, but comfort will bury you. Risk forces you to grow, to stretch, to find out what you're made of. Comfort, it lets your muscles, both physical and mental, atrophy until you're too weak to climb out of the rut you've built for yourself. The ancients knew this. Heraclitus said, asterisk, it is in change that we find purpose. Asterisk. But comfort hates change. It tells you stay where you are. It's safe here. And maybe it is safe, at least for now. But it's also stagnant. And nothing that stays stagnant survives for long. Think about the farmer who refuses to plant new seeds because last year's harvest was good enough. Eventually the soil dries, the weeds take over, and the farm dies not from a storm, but from neglect. I remember when I was earning just enough to get by. I could have stayed there forever. It was comfortable. But comfort never bought me freedom. Risk did. Risk of failure, risk of looking foolish, risk of stepping into the unknown, that's where growth lives. Comfort whispers you've arrived. Risk shouts you've just begun. And if you want your life to mean something, you have to get uncomfortable on purpose. Because here's the truth, risk may cost you something, but comfort will cost you everything. So let me leave you with this. The distance between where you are and where you want to be is not measured in miles, but in consistent, disciplined steps. Knowledge will open the door, but discipline is what carries you through it. Without it, dreams stay dreams. Potential stays potential. And life remains an endless series of almosts. You already know more than enough to begin. The question is, will you live it? Will you take that first uncomfortable step today and the next one tomorrow until your habits align with your goals? Because the truth is, every day you wait, the bridge between knowing and living grows weaker. Every day you act, it grows stronger. So here's the call to action. Choose one thing, just one that you know you've been putting off. Do it today. Not perfectly, not when you feel ready, but now. Then do it again tomorrow. Let discipline become your daily companion, and watch how quickly the life you've imagined becomes the life you're living. The harvest you seek is already planted in the seeds of action you take today. Cross the bridge and don't look back.